2 weeks ago brought about the return of many things. Formula 1 for starters, along with Max Verstappen domination, and the thousands of people screaming about said domination into the void that is Twitter. But this channel's getting views again, so I can't say I particularly care. Hey there guys, I'm Will. Welcome to FP1 and the comedy review, as the circus leaves the Bahrain desert and makes a short hop over to Saudi Arabia, a country of sheer beauty with the best human rights records known to man. And I'd now like to thank Aramco and the Saudi government for sponsoring this video. Jokes aside, I do want to kick this one off with a big thank you for all the support in the last few videos. A big hello to all the new subscribers and the new channel members who've decided to go the extra mile and support the channel further. You guys are all absolute legends. Now let's get into the comedy review for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So, kicking things off with,
what the hell is going on here? Oh, mamma mia.
And we can't avoid the fact that we're racing in a country where human rights are about as easy to find as MH370. The drivers, of course, were asked their opinion on this, and if they were happy to race in Saudi Arabia. Here are some of their responses. Alex Albon says there's been a lot of work this year put into trying to make it feel safer for everyone. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz came out with, I think they've given enough reassurance, enough explanations to say that we're in a safe place right now. And as far as my understanding goes, I need to guide myself by that. Time will tell. Finally, Lewis Hamilton's response was, no. In other news, Ferrari were continuing to find new ways to be useless again. The Scuderia had managed to burn through the two control electronics meant to last Leclerc the whole season in just the opening round in Bahrain. This set Charles up with a 10th-place grid drop for Sunday, which would be a problem if Max Verstappen hadn't already wrapped up the 2023 World Championship. Finally in the news, F1 announced that bikes were to be banned from the Thursday track walks in an apparent move to protect the safety of Lance Stroll. The Bahrain comedy review seemed to get a bit of heat from viewers regarding how much I targeted the Canadian, especially after he shared his touching recovery story in the days following the Grand Prix. And look, I read all the comments and I value your guys' opinion, so I'd just like to take the time to move on to practice, where Stroll was 5 places behind his teammate in FP2. The rest of practice was very much the Verstappen show, the Dutch Messiah topping all 3 sessions and looking like an unstoppable force ahead of qualifying. Gee, I hope that doesn't age badly. Aston Martin were up there as well, proving their Bahrain pace was no fluke, while Mercedes struggled back in the fringes of the top 10. #Blessed had claimed the team hadn't listened to him over the winter, though given the high volumes of hot air he spits out, I can't blame them for not paying much attention. With Jeddah being a street track, where drivers are always inches away from the wall, you'd expect at least one car to end up having a monumental accident. However, you'd be wrong. That's not to say we didn't come close though. The AlphaTauri pair of De Vries and Tsunoda seemed to find themselves caught up in the majority of incidents, though I think this was unfair. Given their pace, they were likely also on a quali lap. The first big moment of the day would also come from De Vries, who forgot he wasn't in a Formula E car anymore when he locked the rears heading down into turn 1. The not-so-flying Dutchman would then make a mistake at the final corner to ruin any chance of progressing into Q2. Lando Norris also found himself knocked out after he tried to get over his ex by kissing the inside barrier at the same part of the circuit, his rebound breaking both his pride and his steering, which isn't ideal in a quali session. Neither were the unluckiest driver of the day though. That award has to go to Logan Sargent. The American found out the glitches weren't just confined to the F1 22 game when he somehow was caught track extending at the final corner, before he tested if the Williams was any more aerodynamic sideways through turn 21 on his second attempt. Having now added the vibrant new shade of brown to the Williams livery, he went out for one final attempt at the end of the session, this lasting a phenomenal 1 corner before his Williams decided it would rather commit suicide than go through all of that again. Tsunoda and Albon would join De Vries, Norris and Sargent in the drop zone as the remaining 15 drivers geared up for Q2. Except Max Verstappen's car either didn't get that memo or felt the pain of the F1 fanbase and decided to make the sport interesting again. Max's troubles left him 15th in Q2, joined in the drop zone by the Alfa Romeo and Haas cars. There's honestly not much more to mention here, so let's head straight into Q3. The battle for pole here wasn't of much interest. With Verstappen out the way, Perez cruised to P1 with ease, his Red Bull mechanics for some reason celebrating like that was in any way in doubt. Leclerc would then edge Alonso to second, though his penalty progresses the Spaniard up into the front row for Sunday's race, with Russell, Sainz and Stroll completing a tight-fought top 5. And that just leaves us with the race. And my traditional plea for you all to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you're enjoying it so far. We're getting really close to 60,000 subscribers now, so I'd really appreciate you helping me out. Anyway, the lights would go out in Jeddah with Fernando Alonso making the best start and jumping Perez down into turn 1. Rather surprisingly, everyone would make it through the opening turns cleanly, apart from Oscar Piastri, who tried to reduce the drag on his McLaren by merging it inside Esteban Ocon's Alpine. Unfortunately for Oscar, ghosting doesn't exist in real-life Formula 1, and the Australian spent the rest of lap 1 decorating the circuit in carbon fibre confetti. At the front, Alonso led from Perez, though as it turned out, the most experienced Formula 1 driver of all time didn't know how to pull into his starting box. That left Nando with a 5-second penalty, and Aston's day was about to get worse when the other car of Lance Stroll found himself out-strategied by none other than Ferrari. Such an embarrassment led to Stroll rage quitting and parking up by the side of the circuit, the Canadian at least finding an escape road so to avoid disrupting the action. Oh, apparently not, never mind. Clearly, a member of race control had bets on Verstappen and Alonso, the resulting safety car benefiting both drivers, Max jumping up into the top 4 and Fernando able to serve his penalty for free, provided his team didn't cock it up. And as if Ferrari making good calls wasn't strange enough, we also saw a safety car benefit Lewis Hamilton for the first time. The Brit was able to switch onto medium tyres and put himself in good stead for the second half of the race. We'll come back to this later though. It would be time up for the Scuderia meanwhile. As it turned out, making 2 good strategy decisions in one weekend just became too much for the Ferrari team. Leclerc being caught out by the safety car when his engineer fell asleep on him. When it came in, Perez would lead the field away, Verstappen cutting his way past Russell and Alonso. That would mark the end of the excitement, however, as beyond that the Grand Prix kinda turned into a bit of a dud. Alex Albon's brakes were the first to give up on the action, and technical gremlins seemed to be the order of the day. Max Verstappen reporting his trademark race-ending engine issue before going on to set the fastest lap of the race. Up the road, the Mercedes cars were busy squabbling for 4th position, Russell being told to let Hamilton through, George responding with the metaphorical middle finger as he sailed off into the distance. Sergio Perez, however, was able to keep his teammate in check for once, making us all wonder where exactly this pace had been over the last 12 months. So as the Red Bulls cruised towards the second 1-2 of the season, the majority of the action seemed to be lying with the McLaren pair. Having ditched Ricciardo, Zach Brown wanted 2 evenly matched drivers, and this year he seems to have got his wish. It's just that both of the cars are also evenly crap. In the end, Piastri would end up getting the measure of his teammates, causing all the Quadrant fans to throw down their expensive merch in disgust. There would be no stopping Sergio Perez though. The Mexican came across the line after 50 laps to take a well-deserved victory, with Verstappen and Alonso rounding out the podium, but not for long. Post-race, it was discovered that Alonso had violated the Nikita Mazepin rule, when you touch something in the car without daddy's permission. A 10-second penalty followed, and that stripped Alonso of his 100th podium, George Russell and Mercedes being promoted as a result. All in all though, it was a bit of a mixed Grand Prix. Some exciting stuff in the beginning, but it kinda tailed off in the second half. Red Bull's dominance is clear to see, and I think from now on I'll just consider P3 as the race win to make the sport more exciting for everybody. Fair play to Red Bull though, they've knocked out the park in 2023, though the team haven't got the strongest of records at Australia, where of course we head over to next. Will that matter at all? Probably not, but it's wishful thinking, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the comedy review. If you did, be sure to smash that like button and get subscribed for more content like this every single week here on the channel. And if you want to go that one step further, you can become a channel member or patron. A big thank you to those that are doing that already, and if you yourself want to get involved, all the links you need are down in the description below. Anyway, that's all from me, so I'll see you soon with another video, but until then, have a good one.